started thinking, I don't really know how, Mary might have felt as being a new mom. It's hard for me to even gather my thoughts now, being a new mom, only sleeping for a few hours a night, and, being in hospital for the first 2 weeks, and I started kind of unloading on her, saying, well, I don't really know. My situation is so different than probably, a healthy baby being born into this world. And, I'm just so wore out. I'm just emotionally drained and mentally drained, and I don't have time to sit here and think about something to say. I can't get my thoughts together throughout the day. All I'm thinking is eating, sleeping, changing diapers, just keeping track of those things. And then, Mary didn't have a normal birth experience either. Here she was, a young virgin, probably more scared than anybody who had a planned birth. Here she was, an angel came to her and told her she's going to give birth to a son. She probably couldn't even fathom what that meant for her. And I started thinking on Thursday night, we were singing that song, if you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. And I thought, did Mary sing that song? Just before the angel came to her, was she sitting there singing, if you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Take my life. Here I am. We sing these things and we say, how many of us have sung that song so many times and thought, God, use my life. I want to be a testimony for you. Not thinking of the consequences of that prayer. Being used by God isn't always sunshine and roses. It's not always the easy path. Sometimes it's taking your only son up a lonely hill to sacrifice him for God. Sometimes it's being stripped of everything you have, even your wife turning and saying, curse God and die. Sometimes it's being asked to give of your life, to give of your, Joseph was drug into this as well. Everything that she loved. Sometimes it means looking at that child that you gave birth to and saying, I'm going to outlive this baby boy. I'm going to watch him suffer the worst cruel death for this world that has ostracized me, for this world that has cursed me. And sometimes the sacrifices that we make, that's God's will. Sometimes we question, are we in your will, God? Is this what you wanted? But God's will sometimes means suffering. Sometimes it means living a life of pain. Sometimes it means, being cursed and being made fun of and taking on burdens that you did not expect to have in your life. And yes, God has favored us so many times. He gives us favor. But sometimes it's the strength that He gives us to get through the trials that He blesses us with. That's the favor that He gives in our life. Sometimes it's the aftermath. Sometimes it's the story, the legacy that you leave behind that will be a blessing. Maybe you won't see the favor of God. Maybe you won't see the full, blessing. Maybe you will live a hard life so that 2,000 years from now somebody can look back and say, thank God for that woman who gave of everything so that I can be here today. Sometimes we won't see the full extent of God's blessings and the whole reason why we are living the way that we are living. Maybe we won't see it in our lifetime, but just know that God is always with us. And if we say, God, use me, then we better be ready for the sacrifice. Amen. We better be ready to really be used of God in our lives. And sometimes it just means sucking it up and moving day by day. I'm sure Mary could not think every day about the outcome that would happen at some point in her life. She just had to live for that day. Just getting through one day at a time. And I'm just so thankful that she was such a willing vessel. That when God chose her, He knew she was going to take on this burden and that she was going to do it right and that Joseph was the right man. Maybe he knew in 2,000 more years not another person would come and be able to take on that sacrifice and take on that burden like Mary was able to. But I just ask that I am able to, have just half the strength that she had, to be able to be used of God and to be able to be such a great sacrifice.